Alright everybody, I hope you don't mind if I stand over here behind the bench. There's every chance I'll fall over if I don't. I'm just here to talk briefly about the Melbourne Space Program. Isobel's made a very good argument that she doesn't want to stand up here, so she's sitting back in the crowd. What the Melbourne Space Program is a wholly student-run not-for-profit. We started off, as many people here did, as a small group running out of a university. As we heard yesterday, there have been some complaints about how difficult it is to get a university to sign a contract. So as a result, we've sort of spun off into our own standalone little organisation. I'm not going to preach to the converted today about what satellites are and how useful they are. I'm going to talk mainly about a little bit about who we are and sort of the difficulties we've had, and I'll try and keep it quick. We all want to get the morning tea. The aim at the outset for the Melbourne Space Program was just to launch a CubeSat. That's all we aim to do. A wholly student constructed and built CubeSat with minimal support or minimal guidance from the university. Initially started with a handful of engineering students, maybe about half a dozen, and it quickly grew into a much larger group as we realised that there's a lot more to engineering involved in launching a satellite. So on the surface, we are launching a satellite. That is our primary function. We have a small CubeSat under construction at the moment, but we're trying to do a lot more than that in and around Melbourne. Because we're all student-run, I'd like to point out at this point that's a massive amount of trust the University of Melbourne has given us. I appreciate it to no end. They have essentially handed full control over budgeting, legal aspects, contract signing, engineering, everything over to a group of students who are not qualified and in many cases have no idea what they're doing. And not me, of course. This is forcing everyone to learn on their feet. We are all working without safety net and far outside our comfort zones. A lot of our engineers are learning things that they would not traditionally learn in a university course. They are forced to deal not only with the specifics of the design, specific of engineering, or the specifics of the legality of these sorts of things, but they have to deal with what is not only a corporate structure, but a very mature corporate structure that is still evolving and growing. So it's giving everyone a lot of experience in how to run themselves in the day-to-day business environment. We're trying to build up in Melbourne and around Australia a database of sort of amateur and industry contacts. We're trying to, in the long term, create an organisation where if a student has an idea they would like to pursue outside of their degree or even in concurrence with their degree, we would be the people to come to, at least in Victoria, so that if they need access to clean rooms, they need access to equipment, they need access just to people who know a little bit more about this than they do, they know where to go and they know who to ask. We are, as many people here are trying to do, trying to create a sort of cultural change, get people thinking about space, trying to get people realising that this is something that they can get jobs in, they can work towards in their careers. We heard from Optus, this is catch-22. How do you get people into a course when there is no job for them waiting at the end of it? But we are working with primary schools, we're working with secondary schools, and we are going out and doing presentations and trying to get, at a young age, people interested in this area. Right, what we've learned. I've been trying to work out the best way to summarise what we've learned. When I need inspiration in eloquence, I tend to look, as many of us do, to United States politics. So, what we've learned. Doing big things is hard, as Paul Ryan so eloquently put it. We've faced many difficulties, a few of them listed at the bottom. Dealing with overseas contractors, I'd like to say at this point that our launch provider is an extremely helpful company. Dealing with students cannot be easy. They know what they're doing and we don't. I imagine watching us flail around is incredibly frustrating. They have been very helpful. However, an incredible time difference and just the logistics of communicating with someone on the other side of the world every time you have a question is extremely difficult. Grants and funding, I don't need to tell you about that. This is expensive and paying for it is difficult, especially when a lot of people would not see the value in what we're doing. And again, I'd like to thank the University of Melbourne. They've put a lot of money into an investment that a lot of people would not see paying off. Staff turnover is a strange issue we've run into. The whole point of our program is to give experience to people so they can go out into the industry and find a job. However, for some reason they keep leaving, going and getting jobs, which means we never have anyone around who knows what's going on. Transfer of information from one person to another is extremely difficult, and documenting what's been learned, why we made that decision. We will find ourselves every couple of months trying to work out exactly why we designed something that way, and definitely ringing people in an attempt to find out who made that choice. Our transition from club to company, our company structure, has been a difficult one. We started off as just a group of people who wanted to build something cool. In order to sign contracts, we need to have certain requirements, and meeting these requirements when we are fully staffed by volunteers, staffed by students, is again very difficult. And we're all learning about something that we did not necessarily think we'd have to know. And legislation and regulations. I didn't study law. I have no interest in studying law, and after reading all this, I'm never being glad of that decision. Isobel's the one who knows about that, and she's done an incredible job. But we all face the same problems. We all know about that, so I won't bother you with it. We've definitely chosen the hardest way to do things. It's the most exciting way, but it is more difficult than I could imagine. It turns out, yeah, students don't know much about the space sector or working in companies or satellites in general. The university's hands-off approach it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Another major thing we've done, which you didn't consider until recently, is that we are asking volunteer students with our qualifications or really a lot of experience to take personal risk in putting a lot of effort into this satellite. They're dedicating their time, their effort. Our company has directors, and those directors are, in a lot of ways, responsible for what goes on. And in dealing with that, we have the university support, obviously, but again, it's another amazing experience. Still, it's a positive experience. I don't think any of us would do it any other way. The opportunities afforded to our members, we've had quite a few go on to jobs in the industry. We've had good reviews from the people who have left. I don't think we've had many people leave on bad terms. And the opportunity to come and speak at conferences like this and see this sort of thing is definitely worth the struggle. Our growing network of connections is something we're most proud of. We've a lot of connections, be it with amateur radio groups in Victoria who've been incredibly helpful. They know more about tracking satellites than we do. Or with contacts we've grown with JPL and NASA, and the ability to have our engineering students talk to these people and learn from them. It's been extremely valuable. Well, I won't keep you any longer. That's about it. That's all.
Thank you. I'm sure someone will talk to you at morning tea.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you.
Email.
So next.